Apparently, there is no end to this 10.1 news. What's patch 10.07? Is that even going to be a thing? Are we going to skip it? We're going to take a look at a new blog post that talks about, I guess, one of the more anticipated systems or changes that's coming in patch 10.1. That involves progression and upgrades, because it's going to affect everyone, from Mythic Plus players to people who do more casual world content. So let's dive right in, like the video, subscribe, that stuff. In this developer insight, WoW developer Chimes, that's their name, takes you deep into the new upgrade system arriving with the release of the Embers of Neltharion content update. One of the features in the content update is that we're rolling out for Dragonflight Season 2 is a new upgrade system that will replace many of the various upgrade systems currently in place, such as Valor and Stormgear, with a single system that covers most of the game. This system will last for the duration of Season 2, and after that, we'll evaluate how well it's working and whether we want to keep it. Yay, an experiment. The gnome-sized version, or the short version, I guess. The basics of the system are simple. You'll earn a new currency called Flight Stones from just about anything you do. Complete a world quest, kill a unique creature, run a mythic keystone dungeon, kill a raid boss, and so on and so forth, and you're going to get items called Shadowflame crests, or fragments of them, which come in 4 varieties from different content difficulty levels. I'm going to go at this slow, by the way, because this is going to be a lot to swallow. Shadowflame crests and their fragments will also come from a wide range of content, including outdoor gameplay, Mythic Plus dungeons, and raids. You'll be able to upgrade almost any item in Season 2's max level gameplay ecosystem, whether it comes from a world quest or a mythic raid boss, by spending Flight Stones and Shadowflame crests. So you get Flight Stones from anything. You get Shadowflame crests, or fragments of them, depending on the difficulty of stuff that you're doing. So the four varieties of fragments are going to come, at different difficulty levels of outdoor gameplay, Mythic Plus dungeons, and raids. So outdoor gameplay, it could be from, it could be like minimal stuff from like rares, world boss, elite quests, stuff like that. And then mythic dungeons and raids, those are a little bit easier to understand because you have raid finder, normal, heroic, mythic, and raids, you have your key levels. Okay, so I think we're good. So far. Floodstones for stuff, Shadowflame crests for like other things. Now let's find out what they do. There are 3 categories of gear that are not part of this system, that are not going to apply to upgrades. The first is crafted gear, which is going to be upgraded through recrafting, much the same as it's done now. Okay, cool. The other gear that's not included in this upgrade system is PvP gear. PvP gearing will continue to work as it did in Dragonflight Season 1, and my opinion, I think it works fine in its own separate sort of ecosystem, and that's cool. The final kind of gear that's not available for these upgrades is the very top end of gear. Anything that is at an item level comparable to a mythic raid is not going to be upgradable. If you want the very best and get into the Hall of Fame or for the new raid, you still need to earn gear from drops the same as you do now. So comparable to mythic raid. So we haven't looked very deep into this. We're not sure what's going to happen with like vault stuff, but let's read on. The most important thing to keep in mind is that everything here is optional. You don't ever need to upgrade gear with this system. You'll still see gear drop at the same rates. The system is meant to augment and supplement your gearing journey and not replace this. That is going to bite them in the butt. Because that's what they said about like the catalyst system. It's meant to be a catch-up thing. It's not meant to be your progression journey, but people are going to see it like this and react to it as if that's what it's going to be. That's probably what's going to happen. All right, the old gods are in the details, so now we're going to get deep into this thing. With a system this wide in scope, the details matter, so here they are for you. Flight Stones themselves are, as already stated, obtained from just about everything you do in the game in the season. There is no weekly cap, so if you're running low and you want more, you can always continue playing the game and get more. You will be limited on how many you can hold, although the holding cap is relatively high, at roughly 5 times the cost of the most expensive upgrade, but since you can spend them freely and earn them freely, as long as you're using them to upgrade your gear, there's no practical limit to the number that you can earn. Why even have it though? And are they account-wide? Probably not. Let's move on. Shadowflame crests come in 4 varieties: Whelplings, Shadowflame crest, Drakes, Worms, and Aspects. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whelpling, Drake, Worm, Aspect. It makes enough sense. If you're upgrading an item to an item level that corresponds to the equipment that you get from a raid finder, let me reread that. If you're upgrading an item, I have a thing, to an item level that is the equivalent of raid finder, okay, cool, you need to spend 1 Whelpling's Shadowflame crest per upgrade. Upgrading to an item level corresponding to normal raid difficulty, you want the Drake one. Heroic equates to the Worm, and Mythic, upgrading to a Mythic thing gives the Aspects thing. Which also means that if I get a Mythic drop, then obviously I can't upgrade it any further because it's already there. Similarly, those levels of content are where you'll find most Shadowflame crests, with additional options for Whelplings and Drake's crests in non-instant outdoor gameplay. Okay, let me reread that again so we can understand the separation here. Those levels of content are where you'll find the most Shadowflame crest, as in high-level stuff, with additional options for Whelplings and Drake's crest in non-instance. So, Whelpling and Drake stuff should be found in outdoor content, and it might be limited. The sources might be limited to, as I mentioned earlier, like the world boss. So the world boss may be the only way to slowly and eventually get to, I believe, like a heroic, like a heroic level sort of thing. So Drake. Actually, no, I'm sorry. This is normal. So yeah, world content probably will get you normal raid upgrade. We'll get you like to that normal item level. You want to get higher, you do the higher stuff. So that separation of content and maximum item level that you can get, that divide is still going to be there, unfortunately. Redundant things are redundantly redundant. Thanks. Upgrades cost flight stones and Shadowflame crests when you're getting an upgrade that increases your character's power. But if you're upgrading but if you're upgrading an item that is lower than the highest item level you've gotten in its slot, you get a discount. We don't want you to feel penalized for upgrading the wrong item, and we want to encourage experimentation with the various trinkets and other equipment that have cool effects. So, if you already have a couple of trinkets at an item level of 415, as an example, but you get a new trinket at item level 402 that you want to try out, you'll be able to upgrade your new trinket without spending any Shadowflame crests. You'll only spend half. Okay, I get it. Here's what's going on. So if I have a 415 thingamabobber, that kind of unleashes, or it unlocks that trinket slot as, yes, this person has earned an item level 415 upgrade thing, and they no longer need to use any of these Shadowflame crests. So as long as I get one thing, then I can like upgrade the ability to upgrade to bring items to this item level without using any crests. I know this is hard to follow, but that's why we're going through this like pretty slow. And at the same time, you only need to spend half of the usual Flightstone cost. So let's read this example here. Vindicator Boros wants to upgrade his new two-handed mace. It's item level 408, but he already has a two-handed sword that's item level 415. Upgrading his new mace from 408 to 415 will cost him half the usual Flightstones. That's the stuff you get everywhere, and it won't cost him any Shadowflame crests because he already has something that bypasses that. If he wants to upgrade it further to item level 418, it is going to cost him a Drake's Shadowflame crest, which is, I believe that's the normal one, and then the usual amount of Flightstones. Okay, so it's oh boy, it's like this character. It's like a character unlock or an equipment unlock. As long as I get stuff that is of higher level, then I would still be, it would still be a cool incentive to go back and farm up old gear if I want to go for like, oh, I really want that best in slot trinket that I wanted, but I've only been getting crap stuff from the vault. So if anything, it at least encourages, like if I get something cool from the vault, because remember, nothing's being replaced here. If I get something cool from the vault, but it's not great, but it's at least high item level, it'll at least free me up from having to farm up, heroic bosses, mythic plus dungeons to unlock that slot. And from there, I could just farm like world quests and stuff, and spend half of the flight stones that I need to upgrade it to this thing. This is a lot to swallow though, guys. That redundancy discount doesn't just apply to the character that earns the upgrade either. When you upgrade an item, when you go to let me start from the top here. That redundancy discount doesn't just apply to the character that earns the upgrade. When you go to upgrade an item, if any character on your account has a higher item level for that slot, you get the 50% flight zone discount. Holy shit. You still need to collect the appropriate Shadow Flame crest if it's a high enough item level, but it'll be that much cheaper to upgrade that gear. Okay, so there's a compromise here. So there's something account-wide working here. The discount will work account-wide. So if I'm on my main and I get a dope-ass weapon, woo! Item level 500, great. That means my other characters will be able to upgrade their weapon to item level 500. They still need to get their own Shadow Flame crest, but it's going to be cheaper. Yeah. So it's something. It prevents, or it's there's less farming to do for like the flight stone stuff, the basic stuff, but I still need to be like good at the game in order to upgrade that weapon close or to that 500 item level. Okay. Rings, trinkets, and one-handed weapons, since you get 2 slots, will track your second highest item to determine your discount on upgrades. Main hand weapons and offhands like shields are each tracked separately, but the lower of these will count towards your one-handed weapon discount. God, you're making it complicated. Once we get into this, we'll get it, but learning this is like, ugh. I'm going to read this again, though. Sorry, guys. Rings, trinkets, and one-handed weapons. Since you get 2 slots, they're going to track your second highest item to determine what your discount is on upgrades. And I'm guessing that this applies to both the, hey, I don't need a crest to upgrade to that level, as well as the flight stone discount. I think I'm getting that. Yeah. And if you have a nice 2-handed weapon, your highest will set the discount threshold for both hands, no matter what style you use. Thank you to, big thanks from Fury Warriors that are not going to feel as screwed as they were in the past. So think of it this way. These discounts won't help you raise your main character's item level or your alt's item level to be higher than your main, but they will help you catch up on a piece of gear. So how many upgrades exactly? Oh, we have a whole chart. Oh, we got the full breakdown, homies. Okay. Each item can only be upgraded so far. Based on its item level at creation, or when it drops or whatever, each item will be on a distinct upgrade track. So here's an example table to help you visualize what this would look like. So we have an item level of a thing, what crests you need to upgrade from the previous level. Items created at this level will always have an upgrade level. Items upgraded to this level might also be, oh boy, this is good. We're gonna be here for a while, dudes. Okay, so basic stuff, 376. You don't need anything, and you can upgrade it to a maximum of 4, I guess. Oh boy. So wait, 1 of 8. And then if it's a 379, then it's automatically a 2 of 8, 3 of 8, then 4 of 8. Okay. And then the 389 drops. Oh man, this is... I need a second. Okay, I sat here for a good minute and a half. Didn't quite get it, but it looks like there's some further explanation, so let's keep going. That's a lot to digest, no duh. So let's dig into it a little bit more. Most items can be upgraded between 4 and 7 times. For example, if you get an item on the adventure upgrade track, which is like this stuff right here, okay? It can go as high as Adventure 8 of 8, which is item level 411. So you just pump Flight Stones and Crest into that, and then it gets to 411. If you want to go higher, you're going to need to get a veteran item, which can be found in a Raid Finder instance or in equal level content. These upgrade tracks are labels placed on item levels, but if you've been following the way item levels are set up in previous seasons, you'll recognize some things. Veteran items are found in the Raid Finder item level range, champion items from the normal raids, and anything else that gave gear in the same item level range, and so on and so forth. So it depends on what things drop. It gives you like that potential. So if I do some Buster World Quest and I drop a 370 and it drops a 376, it is upgradable. And I can upgrade it all the way to 398. So I can get that much item level out of some World Quest item if it drops at a 376. Okay? If I do a better World Quest or kill a rare or something like that, then and I drop like a 389 item, then I'll be able to upgrade it all the way to 411. However, I can only put in so many flight stones till I hit a barrier. I'll hit a barrier once I hit item level upgrade 4. Then, if I want to get further than that, I'm going to need a Whelpling's Shadow Flame crest. I think I'll need one for each upgrade. So if I want to go from 398 to 402, I need 1, 2, 3, I'll need 1. To get to 411, I'm going to need 4. Or maybe I'll just get a drop and like it'll be better or whatever. Okay, I think I'm getting this now. So it just depends on where things drop. It shows you like what the potential of an item is. So let's go with let's go with this like heroic stuff for right now. So if I'm doing actually let's go with this stuff here. So 411. If I get 415. If I get a 415 drop, I can upgrade that 415 all the way to 437. But I'm going to need a bunch of Drake Shadow Flame crests, or at least a couple of them, and I'll need a couple of Worm Shadow Flame crests on top of the Flight Stones, the basic currency. I'm going to be frank, this is complicated. Anyone who's trying to just trying to explain this to you folks is like, what the hell is this? This is the stupidest thing. I think in practice, it's going to feel a lot more natural. Right now, we're just looking at a chart and we're seeing all this information being dumped into our faces, and that makes it a lot tougher to understand. But let's go back to the pros here, and we'll try to reread some of. We'll reread some of this again. Most items can be upgraded between 4 and 7 times. For example, if you get an item on the Adventure upgrade track, it could go as high as Adventure 8 of 8, which is item level 411. If you want to go higher, you're going to need to find a veteran item, so something that has a higher item level already, which can be found in a Raid Finder instance. These upgrade tracks are labels placed on item levels, but if you've been following the way item levels are set up in previous seasons, you'll notice some things. Veteran items are found in the Raid Finder item level range. Champion items come from normal raids, and anything else that gave gear in the same item level range, and so on. And of course, we saw from the chart, when it comes to Mythic, there are no upgrades really. You're in that world now, and there's nothing else for you there. These upgrade tracks and levels will be on the tooltip for each piece of gear, so you know just how powerful your equipment can get. And of course, mythic gear is truly mythic. Once you're in that item level band, you cannot upgrade further. One thing worth pointing out, just like in previous upgrade systems, even if you're upgrading an item several times at once, you are still paying the cost for each upgrade exactly the same as if you upgraded one at a time. So if you are going to go straight, from 428 to 441, you're going to need all of these things, a worms thing and an aspects thing in order to get it to that mythic level. So that's what it's going to take. So there's no skipping, I guess. Another important note, the level an item is created at determines which upgrade path and level it's created with. I think we kind of understand that now. So for example, if an item is created at 398, it will always be at Adventurer 4 of 8. Unless you're getting items at 431 and higher, you'll never get gear that shows up with fewer than 4 upgrades available. Now, it's a lot to swallow because I'm thinking, okay, if I happen to have an item level 424 item, which is a max veteran thing, if I technically pick up a 402 item, I'll be able to upgrade it all the way to 424. I don't have to use any of these crests. I just need to use flight stones. But there's no scenario where I can get like world quest gear at 376. Like if I happen to have a 450 weapon and a 376 weapon drops, there's no scenario where I can like upgrade that thing eventually from a 376 all the way to 450 just because it's like best in slot. My best bet is to to just get a better version of that weapon for somehow, somewhere. So this clarifies that the gear that you're going to get from world content, it's only ever going to get so good. Take that as you will. But there might be things like, on the other hand, there might be things like world boss gear, and there aren't clear labels here as to like, okay, what's the world boss item level going to be, but whatever drops there, then we may be able to upgrade it like a few more times to make it like a little bit better, a little bit more competitive. Now I wonder how this affects things like Valor. Well, not Valor, but I wonder how this affects things like Mythic Plus score and so on. So maybe we'll find out. Shadowflame crests and you. We are not done, folks. This is going to be a long one. Shadowflame crest and Shadowflame crest fragments are all items that you'll hold in your reagent bag. So it's a reagent. They stack very high, so it's highly unlikely that you end up with more than one bag slot taken up by any of them. There's a weekly cap. So there is a weekly cap on how many of these crests you can earn. You'll only be able to get 10 crests of each kind per week. That means you'll be limited to 10 upgrades per week in each item level band. But of course, you'll be able to like choose where you want to put these things. This cap is deliberately set higher than most players would earn. This is because the goal with this cap is to keep a level-ish playing field for the most competitive players, clearing the most difficult content, while still allowing the majority of players to play as much as they like in whatever level of play they prefer and continue to earn meaningful rewards appropriate to that level. So basically higher caps that only really affect top level players who are career minded, whereas anyone else wouldn't hope to hit that anyway. This cap also increases over time and allows you to catch up freely if you don't reach it within a week. Also, since players only have 15 or 16 mechanically relevant gear slots depending on weapon style, by week 6 it'll be so high that even if you needed a crest for every upgrade, you would be able to earn all the crests you could possibly use for upgrading. Since playing the game in ways that get you crests will also get you new gear, and if it's high enough you won't need crests anymore, see the redundancy section above, you'll pretty rapidly reach the point where you won't even notice the crest cap because it'll be higher than the maximum you could ever use in your gearing journey, which leads to account tradable questions, right? They're going to be they're going to be held in the reagent bag because, well, in addition to spending them to upgrade gear, they're crafting reagents. They're used by enchanters to make enchanted Shadowflame crests. Crafting orders will be available for them, which are in turn used to set the item level range of a piece of crafted gear, just like Shadowflight, just like Dragonflight Season 1's Primal Infusion and Concentrated Primal Infusion. As you might expect, your crafter's skill will still be very relevant, as higher quality crafts will have higher item levels. Once crafted, instead of flight stones or Shadowflame crests, you'll use the existing recrafting system to upgrade your gear. The crafted gear will help you with upgrading other things, as item upgrade vendors will see the crafted armor and weapons just the same way as any other when determining upgrade costs. So actually, let me read this before I try to demonstrate understanding here. Here's what it looks like in practice. When you get a crest, you have 3 choices. You can upgrade the item at an item level upgrade vendor, you can craft with it, or you can simply sell it to a vendor. At first, vendoring will probably not be the best option, but once all your gear is above the item level that a crest can help with, you'll naturally outgrow that type of crest. For example, once you have all your gear at 415 or better, you're not going to need Whelpling's Shadowflame crests anymore, and you're free to vendor them safely. Each crest tooltip will tell you the item level range that it's used for, so you can know which crests aren't helpful anymore just by holding your mouse over the item in your inventory. So let me go back to this thing here. The crafted gear will help you with upgrading other things, as item upgrade vendors will see the crafted armor and weapons just the same as any other when determining upgrade cost. So if I'm taking crafted gear and I elevate it to, you know, if I get a piece of crafted gear and it's item level 424, okay, and I see a drop, I get a drop, same slot, that's a 40, that's a 402. Then just like the other things, I should be able to upgrade it if I want without using crests and still get it to this level if I want to. So crafted gear will fulfill the eligibility requirements. I think I'm getting this. I hope. Flightstones of Fancy. Flightstone costs are based on the new upgrade level and item type. Upgrading an item with more stats will cost more than one with less, so there's going to be a difference in gear. Upgrading weapons is generally more expensive than upgrading armor, and upgrading an item becomes progressively more expensive as you climb an item level. Upgrading your gloves from 402 to 405 might cost only 100 flight stones, but 415 to 418 will cost 120 flight stones. That's not, so it's not like this, you know, huge scaling nightmare. Flightstones can be earned in as small a quantity as 2 from a random treasure out in the world, all the way up to a few hundred from the new weekly Wrapper quest, the equivalent of the Aiding the Accord quest from Dragonflight launch content. So a few hundred, cool. Every raid boss will carry Flightstones for each player who defeats the encounter, and every mythic keystone chest will have Flightstones for everyone. Higher difficulty content will provide more Flightstones to account for the increased cost of upgrading gear at that level, but those cost increases aren't so much more than doing outdoor content will ever be useless. The goal here is to let you choose what you want to do with your playtime and make sure it's worthwhile while still rewarding players who complete more challenging encounters. That's where the crests kick in. Rather getting into exact numbers of Flightstone income and costs, resulting in a long series of tables, thank God, let's go over how many times you'll need to do a thing to get an upgrade. At low item levels, it's going to take, at the very lowest bracket, it's going to take 5 to 8 world quests to upgrade a piece of armor one time, or the entire way through. Weapons are more expensive, but your weekly capstone quest is going to give you enough flight stones to upgrade a weapon several times. So 5 to 8 world quests will get you one upgrade. Now, keep in mind, there's only like so many world quests that go on twice a week, and that might kind of factor in. A medium item level, it's going to take 3 to 5 mythic keystone dungeons to upgrade a piece of armor, depending on the key level and the armor slot. Now I'm still thinking that this it takes that many to do like a single upgrade. So it seems like the takeaway is do everything and don't stop. At higher item levels, it can take upwards of 10 normal dungeons to upgrade an armor piece. Oh, these are weird comparisons. So 3 to 5 mythic keystone dungeons to go from here. 10 normal dungeons would be another equivalent. And at all levels, 3 raid bosses will get you enough flight stones to upgrade a piece of gear from that tier. What happened to Mythic Plus score? Let's see. I want to put that in your heads because we're gonna keep reading this because there's more. Okay, question: what if I get something in raid and then I trade it? Can I roll need on weapons that I can't use now just to make upgrades cheaper? Answer: when determining redundancy, only soulbound equipment that your character can use counts. There's still no benefit to giving a rogue a bow or a priest a warglaive. Of course, if you can still trade it, it's not counted. So yes, you can. Oh, no. Can I roll need on weapons that I can't use? No. That makes sense. But you are going to try to roll for high item level things for the sake of, being able to get. Okay. Is Mythic Plus score going away? Here we go. No. Under the Valor upgrade system, your Mythic Plus score was used to qualify your character for higher levels of Valor upgrades and a series of achievements, like those things over there. With this new upgrade system, Mythic Plus score will not be used to qualify for upgrade levels. Crests will be doing that instead, but the score will still be tracked for those achievements. And after a key, if anyone in the group had their score go up, you get bonus flight stones, just like bonus Valor. This is dope because, we've had instances where it's like, oh, I have, this gear, it's like, 11 to 13 or whatever, but I need to get my score higher. And now that it is cool, now I can pump on my Valor into it. Now it's going to feel even more gradual, because if I'm doing a hard thing and I get a crest for it, cool, I can apply something to my gear like right now. I'm not going to have to wait until I got to get my score up a little bit higher, do a couple more 13s or 14s here so I can get to that point, and then boom, now I can get a couple things at once. Now it's going to feel like one thing at a time. So I think that's a great change. Is Valor going away? Yes, as a consequence. This system is a more expansive upgrade path that applies to all maximum level activities. With the old Valor system, your raid knights weren't helping you progress with your gear, and the raid gear couldn't be upgraded at all. With this system, you won't pay an opportunity cost of potential gear upgrades by splitting your time between raiding and running keys. I didn't really think about that. That's very important for individual folks to consider. Now, why isn't PvP gear included in the system? A lot of the feedback we heard about PvP gearing in Dragonflight Season 1 was very positive, and since it's working, there's little reason to change it. If this system sticks around in future seasons, it may become the new way to upgrade your PvP gear's PvE item level, but we'll see. Your feedback here is important. I think it's kind of okay. It kind of, PvP gear lives in a world of its own, so... Where will I go to upgrade my gear with this new system? Any item upgrade vendor will be able to help out. There's an item upgrade vendor in a new location called Loem that's happy to help you out. But if you happen to be in Valdrakken, you could also get it done there, or Oribos, or Nazjatar, because there's one there too. I'm a Fury Warrior, and I was looking at the weapon upgrade section. I can't find the part that makes me sad to wield two-handed weapons. Because of the way redundancy for two-handed weapons works, Fury Warriors get a unique benefit. Upgrading a single two-handed weapon makes the same upgrade on the other weapon cost half of the usual flight stones and 0 crests. We forgot to add that part that would make you sad. Please forgive us. Oh, how cheeky. What about Primal Storm gear and the Amulet? This new upgrade system is specifically for Dragonflight Season 2 content. Because the Primal Storm gear and the Onyx Amulet are part of Dragonflight Season 1, they will not be upgraded using this system. You'll still be able to upgrade them in Season 2 the same way you do now with Storm Sigils and Primordial Gems. So the Amulet, that's how they are making it like gone and go away. What if players don't like the system? Can we get rid of it after season 2 ends? Maybe, they say. A lot of that is going to depend on how players interact with and react to the system. So if you don't like it and have some constructive feedback on why, that's good feedback to get. And what if they like it? Can we keep it? Maybe. And that is all the relevant stuff that they talk about. The one thing that I'm a little bit curious about is kind of sort of tier pieces, the catalyst. That doesn't seem to be part of the conversation here. I mean, maybe they're just separate conversations altogether. But this was a very big post. And I think the initial reaction from folks is probably going to be the same as it was for me at first. Wow, this is really confusing. OMG. What are you thinking? I do think that this is a very thoughtful system that in practice people are going to most likely enjoy, as long as it still feels easy to understand when we really have our boots on the ground. When I start getting stuff from when my alts or whatever start picking up stuff from world quests and I see item upgrade levels, the hope is that I'll very easily be able to understand, okay, here's what I need to do in order to get it. Let me track this real quick. That's great. There is, of course, the question of things being tradable account-wide. That is very much going to be a front and center question, especially as we progress through the season and people get an idea of how many flight stones that they're earning and the crests that they're earning. At what point, if any, is it going to let these currencies be tradable? It's not a reason for us to trash the system yet, but it's definitely a reason to talk about it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts below. Thank you so much for keeping up or otherwise putting up, being patient with listening to me try to understand this along with you. If you have questions though, I will help out the best that I can in a comment. But again, this is very fresh stuff. It's subject to lots of iteration and feedback, and we got like 2 or so months before this season begins. So I hope to hear from you guys. And otherwise, please like the video, subscribe for more content. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, stay breezy.